Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa, episode number 18. We'll start off with the history because I think it's maybe like the right thing to do in a logical sense, but I've gone through this history twice, once just by play, but once also just slowly. Didn't find too much of interest, too much of note. A couple of things maybe. We'll also go through the fights. I think, yeah, one of the battles is here. 2400, 800. This went okay, right? It wasn't great. It went actually pretty good for the Soviets, not good for us, from the perspective that this is a pocketed unit, and even getting 1 to 3 out of it is it's much better than it'll probably get when we can attack from all 5 sides with like overwhelming forces. So probably a smart move on their part. They also intelligently pull back from the makings of a pocket down here. I think they only left 2 units in there at the end. That's pretty good. Now you have the makings, definitely the big makings of a pocket between Orsha and Smolensk, just north. We can definitely, oh man, there's a lot of units. They do a lot of interesting movements around here. Cycling of units. I'm not really sure to what end, but by the end of the turn we'll see that they have left a good number in there, and if we can actually make a pocket out of it, that would be great. I probably am going to need to pinch off right before Smolensk. It's going to be difficult. It's probably not doable, in fact. But if we can do it, there go another sizable amount of forces. I actually want to pay a little bit of attention. I didn't really look at what they're doing in the north. They move forward and then they move back. Okay, well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen on the Finnish front. We're going to do a little bit of maneuvering. I was looking. Okay, in the south they got what I would consider this extremely lucky in an attack. First of all, my 2 units have been sitting there already, so they have some entrenchment. Their tank unit, which you can see the number here, it's only 21 combat strength versus the 57. The lion's share of the combat strength is the one that doesn't have to attack across the river. But the tank unit is almost a liability. It's attacking across, this is a major river. I think it's like a minus 65% penalty for armor. I mean, they're fighting at 1/3 their normal strength, but they're still taking up positions on the front lines. Anyway, it went well for them. I think that both of the attacks that the Soviets did, we can accept the losses. They aren't like bizarre or crazy or awful, but they're both probably Soviet favored. Again, 3-1, but we lost some equipment, especially anti-tank equipment. But thank goodness they lost their KV-1 and one of their T-34s. And this shows you that we're really going to start to be up against T-34s in numbers. They had 40 they attacked with. Okay, so let's try to get through this history a little bit faster. A little bit of shuffling. In the north, they are pushing up against my army that I'd really like to rest. I'm not sure what I'll end up doing. Not really any movement of consequence in the north. By the north there, I meant the Finnish border. But yeah, this is the cycling of units in the makings of the Smolensk pocket. So I'm not sure if they end up with more or less units. Probably still less in that area, the critical area. I'm not sure we'll be able to actually close off a pocket. If we do, it might be too big for us to, too big a bite for us to swallow. They also, they were very aggressive in Army Group South's north part. We only have 2 forces there, and we're gonna have to do something. It looks like they might actually start to try to form a consistent front in Army Group South. Who knows, though. They're gonna end up pretty spread out in the south of Army Group Center. They just have so many units in Army Group Center, though. My goodness, so many. I mean, despite the fact that we're gonna clear this pocket and all that, there's that at the end of the turn. I got some more units, which we're going to see in a second, or when we do Army Group South at least. Yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. So, yeah, they have 2 weak units here, but otherwise, pretty thick lines, defense in depth. And yet, here they go, right? They have this group of 5 right here, group of 3, and group of 3. So, in theory, we could have a pocket of 14 units if we were able to cut off at Smolensk. I just can't imagine how we could possibly do that, though. probably the best we can hope for is pinching just west of Smolensk and hoping we can get across this area. It's going to be tight, but we'll probably do something with it. But anyways, that's the history. Finnish theater. It's going to be another quiet one for these guys. One of them at 63, the other one at 49. So 49 is just going to stay here. The 60 is going to continue all the way over there. My northernmost unit is going to pull back a fair amount so that the HQ can continue to retreat south. And now we're holding the important choke in the south, and we're also holding this area. You know, we probably could even move back one further just to be close to our HQ. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if they want to come back out, I don't think that they will. So I think that the operations on the eastern Finnish border are basically done, and we just need to worry about the Leningrad front. To that point, we want to basically shift everyone 1 hex. That's what I think I want to do, so we'll move you in. And we have 3 all from the Karelian. We'll take the highest... Yeah, we'll take the highest readiness unit, which is you, and move you 1 over. We'll again take the highest readiness unit, which is going to be you, and move you over by 1. It's 84, and the other Karelian unit is actually 72, so pretty weak somehow. So it looks like that same unit is going to continue south. That kind of makes sense. That means this guy preserves his, the entrenchment he's building up. And that is probably what we want to do. So I'm not sure if we're going to end up doing anything with the Southeast Army. What we could do is maybe rest them, but they are potentially under threat of attack. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if tanks are going to go charging into the city, they're going to face, well, 50% penalty. Which is, that's going to work in our favor, obviously, but... I'm not really sure. I think that there might not be anything we can do else for this turn, and we're going to probably leave the Karelians on the aggressive blitzkrieg posture while Southeast just builds up entrenchment and sits on their sustained posture. I have formed a plan for Army Group North. It's a little bit more clear to me how everyone's going to be operating in the next few turns. So I'm going to pull 2 infantry units from 18th over to support along the marsh front near Ostrov and Pskov. 4th Panzer Group is going to rotate all the way over to the east, which only makes sense that they go around the marsh. So all their forces will be involved in doing that. And then 16th Army is just going to sit along the front, Ostrov, and I don't know what they're going to do. We'll probably be probing for ways to get across. This is potentially a weak point because I'll have several units in this area. 18th may end up supporting that a little bit. But this is still crossing a river. I'm not sure how effective we're going to be at dislodging that unit, even though we can attack from 3 sides. I'm just assuming, of course, that Pskov is garrisoned, so we don't want to do that. Anyway, there's a lot of units in 18th Army who can move pretty darn far. And I'm just going to roll the dice that I can't understand why they would have any infantry between here and Tallinn. Okay, good. We got lucky. I mean, I don't know how lucky it is. It just makes sense to me in some sense. But yeah, there were none, and I can also move pretty aggressively here. This is another situation where I just can't... I'm going to go ahead and do this. We'd probably be able to see the units anyway, because it's all plains. And indeed, there were no units there, which is good. We also want to... So, Tallinn is... obviously, it's occupied because we didn't take this hex. It probably has a light garrison. It would make sense that they wouldn't completely abandon it. Now, we're going to want to still help out over here. I'm going to move 1 force over there. And basically, I want 1... Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want 2... Maybe not the 45. 59, 62. Let's take the 62. Move him there. 59 can move over here. And the 49 can move up this way. So basically, we're going to leave 2 of 18th's infantry to help along this front with the 16th, and then everyone else is well, they're going to be committed to moving north. And so far it's gone as good as you can possibly imagine. There's no enemy forces, no Soviet forces. We just took a huge swath of territory. In fact, I can't wait to see this one on the big replay. See how much territory we ended up taking this time. We might as well start moving some of these other forces in. I think we'll move you in here. Unfortunately, they have this fortification there, so it's not like that's not really going to be a great place for us to attack. I think I am going to, let's see, this is just in range. 35. I'm just going to move in here, and I think I'm going to move this. And we'll just wait a few turns to get some readiness back and potentially think about doing an attack there. It's only 75 to move here, so it's a little bit less expensive. We'll do that. Again, now all we're trying to do is move units all the way around as fast as possible. In fact, the one attack I want to do, which we might as well get over with right now, is on the 147th. They're a little bit... they just got here, so the entrenchment is not high. And they're a little bit under strength. They've probably been the recipient of an attack previously. Although we weren't able to follow up, you know, to completely eliminate them. So we're just going to go for this, and we'll take one... It had to be a Panzer III. You know, it couldn't have been anything else. It had to be a Panzer III. Oh well, so they lost 2,400 troops and some equipment. And hopefully the follow-up attack goes well for us, because there's definitely that in the tank for us. Now, what we're going to be doing is leaving us a little vulnerable, potentially to being... to enemies going behind our front line. I don't think that they're going to be aggressive to do that, especially because they only have one infantry in the Army Group North territory. The other one is Army Group Center, and I don't think that they're going to cross. Although you never know. Anyway, let's do a follow-up attack with all three, because even though I don't think we're going to move out of this hex. Fuel's no longer a huge issue, so we don't have to be as concerned about, oh, I attacked into that hex, I already spent the fuel to go into that hex, so I have to go into that hex if it's moving in the right direction. We're not quite as strict about that anymore. Looks like we lost another Panzer II, so not like the luckiest thing, but at least we broke them. They're shattered, and that's one less Soviet infantry unit that we're going to have to fight. In this case, I think I still will move in. Doesn't seem like a bad idea. It kind of positions us well for next turn. Who knows what next turn will bring, but you know, in theory, we're well positioned for it. Now, our trucks are moving out of Duneburg, so it's you know, it's we're in pretty good shape. I'm gonna be a little bit aggressive here, and I'm gonna move my 4th Panzer one extra hex over. Technically, we could be attacked here. We're really waiting to do an attack on this group, but I don't. No, I just looked at the readiness and look at 51. That one's alright. 87, 60. Sorry, 95 and 77. This one's 46 and this one's 48. Again, I'm not sure why they're having such a hard time replenishing their readiness. This minus 15% readiness. What I thought it meant was minus 15% readiness maximum. But I think what it actually means is minus 15% regeneration of readiness, which is really bad. So we'll probably have to start resting these troops like ASAP. In fact, we may even just do it this turn. I don't know. I mean, especially because, well, at some point 18th is only going to rest once they like take Talon. And, well, I mean, I guess we could do it while we surround Talon. But definitely we want to get to these hexes on Narva. I want to have that that position locked in before we do a rest. And that's probably all that we're going to do from Army Group North. Maybe just move these other units around. 85 or 90? Well, if it's 85, I guess here. And 95, 90. Okay, so we'll do this. Good. So that is all of our movement here, and that was a good turn. Army Group South should be pretty tame, but we basically have this one garrison that we're going to strike at. In fact, a lot of low readiness units. Again, I don't know if I already mentioned this in the previous in Army Group North, but I'm starting to think that this minus readiness is not just applied as a max, again, but I think it's a per turn thing, which is actually crippling. I did not account for that. So we have one unit who can help in an attack here. That brings us up a little bit closer, and then we can probably get 59 into the attack would be good. And it doesn't really matter which one they attack from, so that's good. So we now have almost maxed out, and it's, 390 versus 80. Good odds. We have the 80% bonus. Thankfully, these are, well, one of them is a garrison. I don't know how they fight. I don't remember if they have, let's just check. Do they have garrison? Yeah, they do have conscripts. Okay, that's good to know. So the conscripts, again, just one worse versus 8 and 16 for the regular Soviet units. Let's see how this goes. I'm intentionally letting them retreat because their retreat behavior is modified by whether or not they have a place to retreat to. And once they get out of the city and into the plains, my armor can make really short work of them. So the hope here was to do really big damage without losing many people. I would say that this was not an overwhelming success. This is not the success story I was hoping for. However, we do have to consider that they were pretty well entrenched, and we only lost 800. It's just that losing 800 to only 3,000 conscripts is that's not my idea of a good result. And I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty confident that we are not going to be able to do a follow-up attack with almost anybody. Except for... yeah, well, except for you! Yes, good. Okay, so we do have one follow-up attack which we can do. Now, the problem with this follow-up attack is these guys no longer have any place to go. They are at 14 and 26 as far as readiness goes, which will impair their combat ability, but their strength is actually still pretty high. So what I might do instead is see if we can get any unit. No, the answer is no. We can't get any units to assist the armor. Except for you, oddly enough. But... aha! You! You are going across then. So that's a big leap. They were going to get north of the river eventually. So essentially we're deferring our elimination of this unit until next turn. We should have... I don't know what the readiness is going to look like for these guys. If we're going to have any despair even. I think it's time for 11th Army to come across the... well, at the same time, we are closer to the rail on this side. And it is quite a long journey to get to us if we don't use that rail. Yeah, so let's just move a little bit closer. I definitely want to be close to the group that's going to be doing the attacking. And then everyone else who can just move up as much as they can, just do exactly that. Move up as much as you can. In fact, you will probably even... I guess 17th Army is going to be going up that way and you're going to stay pretty close, but we'll move you this way. Your 11th Army as well. We'll move you here. I see you, 11th Army. Just move you here. And there, I guess. So now 11th Army is all contained in this little area. That's good. We were able to move them forward. 3rd Romanian has to continue their trek. So let's do that. I think one of these guys may not be able to move all that far, too. So I have to be a little bit cautious about how gung-ho I am with these movements. Okay, looks like everyone's actually getting out. So everyone left now is 17th Army? Yeah, so we can see this train of forces. Of course, we also have this 1st Panzer Group Infantry, but they are, if I'm not mistaken, in range, and even the HQ could move one closer if we wanted. Now, speaking of 1st Panzer Group, or at least selecting them, we do have some interesting new additions here. I laugh because this is what the Italians deem motorized. Yes, this is the Italian cavalry. They're the 3rd Italian cavalry. It says 3rd motorized here. Of course, they are just completely on foot. There's nothing motorized or cavalry about them. So I really enjoy that. This is probably a big slap in the Italian... I mean, the World War II Italian forces are a little overly maligned, but in this case, it's just... we're going to do it too. We're going to participate in ganging up on them, joking about their, the fact that they call a motorized group someone that's not even mounted in any way, shape, or form. In fact, they have just guns, which I guess those would be horse-drawn. Anyway, that's really all we can do, but it's kind of cool that because they joined, those 2 Panzer Group forces joined while we're in the middle of resting. I guess it joined after the rest tick eliminated all the action points of everyone else, so that we're actually able to move them. And yeah, I'm going to move them closer to the city because they are infantry, and they are perfect for helping me take that town, which has just maxed out its entrenchment sitting there. Actually, I'm not sure when their supplies will go away, because Karavolgrad is not a red dot. Some of them are red dots. Let's see if I can do this. 5, 4, yeah. So Proskuro wasn't a red dot. I mean, Lvov was, Kiev was. So if you don't have a red dot, I don't think that you get reinforced there. Anyway, so at some point, these guys might just start running out of supply, which is funny because we're in the process of like reconstituting ourselves. Okay, anyways, this is kind of dragging on. We don't really have much to do in the south. This is why I chose it next, because it's easy. Only movement I really want to do with 6th Army is to move the light infantry, again, that away, and then take the highest readiness unit, which is this one, and move it right here, so that we continue to have the consistent front. But, you know, part of the reason I want to do that is maybe at some point I do attack this unit, and just getting the extra side of surround is nice. And at some point we are going to have to shift these forces north of the river. We may even do that, just start swapping them over now and only leave one 8th or 6th Army unit in each of these hexes. Even pull this guy back. I guess he is guarding some valuable territory. But as soon as 17th Army gets up and running, this is not going to be as important. So as soon as you guys are done with your rest, we'll get you guys on the road. And then obviously 3rd Romanian is really needed with this surge of conscripts. But you know what? I think that's it for Army Group South, and probably took a lot longer than I needed to really not do much, just advance against this town. Things are slow going while everyone's resting down here, switching postures. So, you know, it's like you've done the first leg of it. We've gotten this far. Now we're shifting gears, truly like putting the clutch in, which means we're resting, shifting gears, and then the next one is going to be the slow, steady drive all the way to Rostov. I'm just going to have to come to the terms with Army Group Center being very messy. I have probably spent about 50 minutes. Maybe it's been a whole hour. Maybe it's been over an hour. I've just been going through every possible scenario here. It's just not... let me explain my thought process before we go on here. I feel like we have a bunch of opposing forces in decision making here. Our troops, the 3rd Panzer Group, is still in Blitzkrieg and very offensive capable. Only their slow units, the infantry, are going to have a lot of fatigue. And boy, do they have a lot of fatigue. But it's a very offensively capable force right now, because it's also benefiting from the Luftwaffe. Remember, we didn't give Guderian the Luftwaffe because he has the focus, so his units get like the 30% bonus. But 3rd Panzer Group gets the Luftwaffe, which is actually more... Is it? Yeah, it's 33%. I mean, it's about a 30% bonus, but slightly over right now. Anyway, so they are very combat effective on the offensive right now, and it's something I want to take advantage of. However, on the other side of it, we don't really have the force superiority in any one particular spot of the line. So, like, this is... we have, like, what I mean, just... It looks to probably most people, like this is the makings of a pocket. And I'm just trying to probe how we can do that. The only solution that I've come to, which I feel like is a reliable solution, is just to keep shifting northeast to force them to stretch northeast with me. And that will thin out the lines, and then I can reconsolidate and Schwerpunkt through one point in the line, and then, you know, I guess that's... They're so thick right now, it's very difficult to imagine any one of these hexes as a weak point. Especially because, you know, in a lot of cases, we don't get a surround, we don't get a pocket with just one breakthrough, we need 2. Like these, so we have 3 forces in the north and then 3 forces in the south. Neither of those are very easy to take either. We only have 2 hexes on the northern one, and, you know, I think that it's fair for me to do this right away, move those forces forward. So I'm not sure if everyone appreciates the behind-the-scenes Tortuga's like thought process, but I wanted to give it here because it's been a stumbling block for me, and maybe other people have different perspectives they would offer in the comment section. I don't know. I really am stumped, but there are some things which are, yeah, easier at least to make forward progress with. So we're going to move this unit down. We're going to get the attack from 4 sides on the bottom group first. The reason why I want to do this is I think that the attack stack penalty will work in our favor. Actually, I'm not even sure if that's true, but we're going to do it this way regardless. And we don't have anybody here, so 4 sides of attack, plus 80% concentric bonus. Should be this should be just a complete blowout. I'm not expecting this to be a challenge. The challenge is the next one to come. Yeah, 2 for 5,000 basically. That's great. And then okay, so you don't have the ability to follow up, but somebody here does, and somebody can move it. Perfect. Good. The math checked out. So now we're going to have a full surround on this unit. And I don't think that we have anybody else who can contribute, actually, without losing our 1 army bonus. So 200% bonus. All these people are, like, you know, high readiness. So this is actually a good attack. And this is from a 4th army that is otherwise... Actually, let me move you even a little bit closer. I don't know if it'll help, but do that same attack now. Oop, not with the headquarters, though. That would be foolish. Okay, so we have... I think this is good. 200% concentric bonus, right? That should... Oof. Right, so you can see what happened there is we took a lot of initial losses. But then at some point they were just broke or panicked. And then after that we didn't take any more losses. I mean, you can rewind and watch it again if you want. But there we go. 1,800 losses for 43,000. These are, I mean, it speaks for itself. These are definitely the kind of odds we like. So there we go. Pocket closed off. I feel like that's good. It's just so funny that even with that pocket closing, I feel like this front... Okay, well, I will say this. The pocket... I mean, the front feels a lot more manageable now that I'm looking at things. Before, I feel like we were actually getting pretty outnumbered, and now it might not be true. It just might be that I'm expecting to be in such numerical superiority that it felt like I was outnumbered, or when we were really even, or maybe even still ahead. A lot of these units, they're not going to be able to contribute in anything else in this turn, so I might just wait to see what else happens before I move them forward. I am fully expecting here to need to do a pause and like rethink after we make some progress. But there are some basic things I think I can do. Like, I would really like to eliminate this tank, and we're going to, again, gotta be prioritizing having the infantry break open the lines. But even this is not a breaking opening of a line, but I'm not going to be breaking open any other line. I mean, there's not going to be other frontal assaults. So might as well do this with the infantry and not the tanks. Yeah, see, we took 1 loss. Who knows? I'm shocked. This unit survives with 1 T-26. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means, but they live. We have 1 other attack. I wonder if I should leave the... I guess if we move them forward. So this is 3 sides of surround. I'm not sure who should move forward here, really. What I could do is do the attack with you, move you in, and then do an attack with 1 of my armor. This is a weaker unit, so I actually expect that it will die quicker. Hopefully without any resistance at all. 0 casualties. Go, 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 go. Good. There's only 3 units. But, you know, I mean, you can't... I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't be expecting 0 casualties. It could have happened that we lost somebody. It wouldn't have been outrageous. So again, I'm not really sure who should move where. I don't really see the means of another... I mean, originally this was going to be a big... or could have been a bigger pocket, but we didn't do that, right? And I can't see any place we can really exploit the current Soviet line. Especially because I think 4th Army, they've done great. They've been wonderful. Thank you. But we need them to switch over. And I might even switch the artillery onto like 2nd Army, who's just so fresh and ready to jump into the front, pretty much. Otherwise, 9th Army will be coming back eventually, and, you know, they'll be better off for it. But probably 2nd Army is going to get it, and then we'll just we'll be doing some offensives. Okay, so what am I going to do? I need to think about who needs to move where in the south. Like, look at this. Even though it's... Okay, it is 3 units which are weak. Could we try to push through here? We have some conscripts. Like, this is obviously a fully intact conscript group. And then we have 2 just very weak divisions. Yeah. We could break through that, but then where does that get us? I guess the only other place we could connect, and that will eliminate 2, plus that only takes out another 4 forces. But, you know, I mean, every little bit counts, right? How would we do this? I guess I would need the SS to move forward and attack the Cav with 2 armor units, perhaps. Maybe just 1. So you move here for free. I think I am going to take this. I'm starting to talk myself into this. Let's just go ahead and do it. And we have infantry here. And we have the means of defending with other infantry. I mean, I highly doubt that we're going to need anything else defending this infantry. I mean, this forest anyways. It's not that it matters if they take that forest, other than the fact that it'll be painful to retake since they'll get nice entrenchment there. But yeah, and we also have this armor, which, I mean, I don't know. They don't have very much AT. This is probably a good idea, just to bring my armor in. And the motorized now shifting is not going to be as much because we... Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is move the SS here and put the motorized into the attack so that we don't exceed the attack stack. But that should be a victory. We lost... Actually, we lost a lot more than I thought, but... Was that 3 and a 4? 2 3s, damn. Yeah, that didn't go well. I mean, it could have gone worse. But we're making our rules here. We're deciding we're going to try to cut off. Which means... Just we really don't have too many forces. We're going to need you to move here. The cav is going to have to be in on the attack. As well as this armor unit, which means you're going to have to shift. How do we even do this? Is anybody capable of plugging the line? I think we might be okay. By the way, let's move this guy over so that he's closer. I mean, I don't want to give up Gomo. I think what we'll do is we'll attack here, and then I'll move somebody backwards. Like the motorized will probably move backwards. Okay, well, good enough. We'll try it. That went very well in the very beginning, but then started to get a little bit worse. All of the infantry in this other division just retreated. Nobody was actually eliminated. Yeah, I mean, we didn't take too many casualties. That was an agreeable battle, in my opinion. Okay, good. The cav can move backwards, is probably what we'll do, because they're going to be the most... Yeah. This is tricky still. Oh, wait, we need the cav to stay here, because we have... we don't have enough forces to do what I want to do. I guess what we can do is we can fold back over here. So that's probably what we'll do. This is a 0 movement, and you can just retreat. We're going to kind of abandon that position. That way we can move forces here. Good. I knew somebody had done it. And everyone who can move in should now. It's going to be a very thin front, but we'll make it work. And then these guys, we want them to do the attack with the assistance of somebody. Okay, yeah, so who wants to be the volunteer? The motorized or the cav should stay here. I think armor moves backward. No, cav moving backward just makes more sense. Motorized staying here makes sense, which means armor moves forward and does the attack. Okay, so you do the attack, and then... Doesn't really matter. We might as well get 2 people involved. Hopefully this is just a elimination. Oh my god, we lost more. The number of Panzer III tanks that have just fallen by the wayside in this constant fighting is just awful. Alright, that's a 0. I think we'll stay here. Okay, good. So in the end, I think that was a good thing. We do have 2 more units pocketed. This might be the most exciting thing that happens this turn, too. At least in Army Group Center. So yeah, we managed to hold the line. We have a lot of units that I'm going to have to move forward. I will plan that off camera though, because I have no idea where they're going to go yet. And it might just be at this point we don't really worry about pocketing as much. And now it'll be more about... Yeah, we're in pretty good shape for defending though. It might be more about just this slow push. Like Bryansk is in sight here, right? And man, Moscow is just not that far away. Let me take a quick pause before I figure out what I'm going to do in the north, and then I can also move these guys. Alright, Carpe Diem. We're going to do something a little bit bold here. I think what we're going to do is do one more attack. So I'm going to move this tank unit closer. We can get this guy involved in the fight as well. And then one of these guys has the ability to make this move and still do an attack, and that means that right now we have all but one marsh hex that we're attacking from close to the attack limit. The two defenders have low entrenchment, 34 and 40. Also not great readiness, 79 and like 64. So I think that we're in good shape. I mean, this is 6 units versus, sorry, it's 7 units versus 2. Plus 150% bonus, so we just hope that we don't take too many casualties in the first turn, but we should just absolutely obliterate them. Well, I think that that went very poorly. Tank-wise, I mean, this is always the tanks, man. Oh, I mean, we did eliminate 13,000 troops. Is that okay to lose 3 Panzer IVs over it? I don't know. I really don't know. It feels brutal, but that's okay. I mean, this is all in this, you know, I think that it was probably attacks that were going to have to happen anyway. So who moves in? I mean, this is what we, you know, leave me to do the extra planning. I think we will pull back with the, at least that hex will pull back. The infantry probably shouldn't pull back because, I mean, this armor can't pull back because the motorized can't move. So those guys are partnered now. They're going to defend over there. And that kind of makes sense anyway. We don't want you to pull back because we want to hold the road. Honestly, if anything, we want somebody to assist you, which, yeah, we can get some help. I also want to start thinking about how we're going to attack the marsh. I think it has to be, unfortunately, yeah, so we'll move some units in, I think, like that. It's going to have to be 4th Army which does it because it's the marsh, and that's just not great. That's not Guderian's forte. It's not the place where he wants to be. So let's get this SS group to help defend in maybe the weakest point. So they'll be happy to hear I'm moving them to the weakest point. Otherwise, I guess we'll do something like... Oh yeah, you can move there for free, so that's a good thing to do. And probably other people are going to be able to move closer. We want to see that because, again, these guys are all now pretty soon destined to be... I think we'll actually defend twice there, but otherwise everyone's going to be moving, yeah, this way. And you may even move further off the road, I don't know. We have one guy way up there, but he's going to move down south after we get to the northern part of this section. Man, I just feel like it's been already a long turn for center, and we have the northern half still to do. Although, you know, 9th Army not going to be doing too much, so that'll speed things up. It's just that this... Yeah, I already talked about it. Don't really know what to do with it. But this is actually a good development in the south. We finished off one pocket. We have another pocket of... must have been... I didn't even notice, but the motorized unit broke. Or was... You know, it shattered. So only 3 forces remaining. That explains why we already did like 14,000 casualties. This was a good maneuver. I think this was a smart play. Just to get a few extra units off the front. In the south, it feels better. It really does feel better. Especially now that we got those guys out. We'll be able to make hopefully a little break to Bryansk, and that's a tough territory to defend being in the forest, so I'm glad that we were able to eliminate them in the plains before pushing further east. Okay, last little maneuvering in the south. I think we're going to swap this guy from Guderian's forces all the way over here. A little bit too exposed. I also don't really mind luring them out of the forest, so we'll do that as well. 4th Army headquarters needs to come forward a little bit. To continue to support, or prepare to support, the upcoming advance. I'm going to leave this line as is. I'm not, like, terribly happy with it. And just one other thing, just got to get this guy out of here. Move that there. This 167th from 2nd Army. They'll also be moving north of the river, and 2nd Army is going to assert themselves more over there. So I just thought I'd do that swap. I mean, there's only one unit here, but this line, we're going to do something. I'm just not sure yet. I already spent another, like, 10 minutes planning, but nothing yet. Okay, I've come to some agreement with myself. We're going to be attacking this hex. What I didn't realize, I mean, although it is 5 divisions, 4 of these are tanks, and tanks are just not going to defend quite as well. We know that they do have this nice defensive bonus going for themselves, unfortunately for us. But the good news for us is that this is a lot of armor which doesn't fight as well on the defensive, including the T-34s. So yeah, that's what we're going to end up doing. We're going to lead with the 20th Panzer Division, and then really they're just going to be supporting a bunch of infantry in the attack. So nothing is glorious about this. We don't have overwhelming odds, we don't have a big flank. We're just hoping that the armor can survive. Yeah, so we lost 2 Panzer IIs and 2 Panzer IIIs, which I mean, I kind of saw this coming, right? We probably could have led with... I could have used infantry in the north, but I just felt like because it was against 4 tank divisions, that might have been... I mean, you're basically hoping your AT guns can move along and do the job. So it just didn't seem like the right call. And I don't know, maybe it was the wrong call not to do that. But anyway, we're going to move you north so that you can sit and defend that. I don't know what the next step should be here. This hex is now surrounded on 3 sides, and it has a lot of units, which means that it's possible we would get a really good... I mean, let's just take a look. What does this look like? No, they're not over the attack stack limit, but anyway, I mean, a lot of these tanks are very weak. I don't know, to me there is some sense in doing a follow-up attack here. The armor has basically broken through this, except for the fact that 1 armor and 1 infantry, which, oh wow, 2 infantry are completely intact. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a great idea. I might have to hold off on that, although it will give the Soviets time to replenish their readiness. So we're just going to have to take our 3 infantry, and I don't even know if we need to wait. Let me quickly see if we can do that. Yeah, it seems actually we can just do this attack with just the 3rd Panzer Group. Get a nice surround. I think I am going to do this. It's a little bit wasteful in terms of... Right, it's not too bad. And then you move here, and then we just get a nice full surround. Anybody who can should attack. Here we go. Full concentric bonus. Good odds. I think this is a good attack. Okay, good. So did lose, unfortunately, more Panzer IIIs. They just keep flying off the shelves. But 26,000 infantry down for only 400. Those are good odds. We'll just have to figure out something with the massive loss of Panzer IIIs. It's just, I hope that production has started to go up somewhere. We might need to send 1 more infantry back into Vitebsk, just to make sure we hold that. With 2. These units can then move forward. I think that we may even want them to prepare to do the lead attack next turn. So we'll get something like this even. So we have 4 units. They can do the attack to start this charge, and then the... gonna want the Panzer Group to follow up after that. So we'll get those guys into position. I think something like this. You can't move forward. I'm not sure. I don't think I mind if they move across the river here. So I'm going to do something like this. And I think 3rd Panzer Group has to move forward a little bit as well, just to be in better position to support some of the other units. But I'm going to leave these units just completely static otherwise. I don't know. I like this idea because it will give me time to figure out what I want to do for my next moves when I see them react. I actually kind of want the AI to react here. Hopefully they react in a... poorly. Hopefully they give me some opportunity. But that is probably going to be it for Army Group Center. Okay, time to make some decisions. Extra artillery. Well, I didn't look at these decisions in great detail, but I know that rail capacity for us is pretty low. We can spare 4 trains. So that's exactly what I'm going to tell whoever it is here, that we can spare 4 additional trains. It's a bit tight, but we also have a lot of fuel. I don't know if it'll last, so we have to be a little conservative. Gurkha wasn't too happy about that, but at least von Bock was pretty happy about it. Then the Führer Conference, that's a big one actually. So this is probably the one I should have done first. We got to see what Hitler's going to do. Is he going to change his mind? Currently we have our objective as Rostov. Is he going to make any changes? Plus 34 political points. My goodness. Oh my god, he changed. It's north. Oh no. Oh no. Well, that's something. North is looking okay though. I guess that's fine. That's the fun of it, isn't it? Is this going to change? Maybe it'll change next turn. Anyway, we got to call in some favors. So basically, you can choose to do this. If you choose to ask for his support, he may do it and it won't cost you as much. But this call in a favor will cost you a little bit more relation with them. I still do it because it doesn't. It's a guaranteed success. Our winter preparations is going to go up. I really hope we don't need it in the end, but we'll still call for these favors. Propaganda. With our new allotment of political points, I feel like we can approve this permanent bonus. I think that's what it says, right? Gain permanent action point bonus. Yeah, exactly. So let's, get to that and approve it. 3 political points. I don't know why Von Lieb isn't happy. He should be ecstatic. And that's 4th Panzer Group, right? Why? That's perfect. It should have been I don't think it did cost less political points, but it should have cost less because that's new. That's now Hitler's #1 priority. Haven't you heard? They didn't get the news in time, so we still paid all the political points for it. There's 2 options for relocating stuff here. We have Airfield and Army Group South. They want to consider relocating it to Odessa from Kiev, right? Yeah, we're currently in Kiev, moving to Odessa. I mean, there's some benefit to doing that. There's also not benefits to doing that. So, in my opinion, it's not necessary. And they still want to move the forward supply base backwards from Orsha to Minsk, and that's not going to happen. So that should be the turn for us. Oh, one last thing I wanted to show though is the stats screen. I forgot to show this, but yeah, look at this big dip. And what's really cool, so it's really cool that this is a big dip. This is now the biggest gap between the forces since the start of the game. We did have, not so many turns ago. In the middle of July, we had a superiority of about 220,000 forces. Then they got a huge amount of reinforcements. But as of right now, we actually outnumber them by 230,000 forces. So this is the biggest gap, not relative gap. Relative, this is bigger, but this is the biggest gap. The surprising thing is that their forces went down from let's just say 1470 to 1270. That's 200,000, right? You'd expect the casualties they sustained to be at least 200,000, but no. It wasn't even 100,000. So where all these troops went to, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe there's some event where they have to be pulled off the front. But it's a mystery to me. I'm not sure. And I've definitely never played the Soviets this far, so I really don't know if such an event exists for them. Anyway, that's the stats update. And we're off. Not sure what that was showing. A little bit of movement in the south. More movement, Army Group South. This should be the interesting thing to see how they reform around that pocket. Shifting in the north. Yeah, here we go. More interesting stuff around Smolensk. And an attack. Okay, 800, 3,800. So we lost. We actually fell back, but the odds look like they were okay at least. Shifting. Okay, that's more pressure on the north side of Army Group Center. Okay, another attack. 600 to 1,200, so that didn't go as well. But I meant Army Group South. There's more pressure in the north of Army Group South. I think that's 6th Army, just trying to hold it together. Some shuffling around this area, this breakthrough that we had with the Guderian's forces. Bryansk looks... Well, yeah, this is so interesting to see that their defense in depth is now collapsing to basically a single... Oh, looks like Tallinn and Narva has deployed their conscripts, so that's now defended. Okay, well, we'll have to go back and look at that more, but... Major Pistorius reports on his visit to the left wing of the 9th Army at Velikai Luki. Schubert's group is organized for the defensive. Unless new forces are brought up, it will not be strong enough for attacking. High praise for the 110th and 86th Divisions. 206th Division is also good, but being 3rd draft, its equipment is not up to the same standard. The overall situation in 9th Army is tense. Yeah, that's right, we have Hitler's directive number 34. Leningrad is now priority number 1. It's crazy. So this is how it goes, right? And we see there'll be a couple conferences. Final conference in November. I think it's every 15 days. I forget, though. Army Group North has 16th Army. Center has 9th Army. That's disappointing because 9th Army is freaking immobile. And South has 6th, 17th, 11th, and 3rd. That's, yeah, nothing very useful there. 11th Army maybe I can do something with. 17th is immobile and 3rd Romanian. They'll get to the front a little faster. Okay. 2, 4, 1, yeah, okay. Well, the fuel's flowing. Very slowly in the south, though. Love, says Gearfrieter Dietrich, is like a well-oiled MG-34. When it is working as it should at full operational tempo, you know that you aren't going to die. The MG-34 will hose down any Russians who wicked. It'll chew the legs off all the rest. I told him that it's an interesting position and that I'd have to give it serious thought. It rained and I spent most of last night shivering in a foxhole with ankle-deep water. I should have joined the damn Navy. Well, that's going to conclude this video. So I just want to say thank you to everybody watching, and you know what's going to happen. Back to the next turn in the next episode. 1 for 1, we're doing well. Until then, thanks for watching, stay safe, and take care.